Every single time it just gets doesn't he? And I've just had something to eat before I came in, so
you've got to do it for your own.
You've got to do it for your own. And Bob, I'm knackered, mate. As you know, I've been speaking to you before. Welcome to Green Sunrise Podcast. Today we are going to be talking to a wee friend of ours, an ex-co-host, but I'm going to talk to you about what's been happening in Green Sunrise Podcast, and personally for me, doing what I've been doing the last couple of weeks. Over the last 2 weeks, I've been doing a mental health first aid course, which is ran by, and I've got to point these people out, which is ran by Siobhan Harkin and Anne Logan. So a wee special mention today to absolutely beautiful individuals. Thank you for giving me the 2-day work first aid mental health course. First aid mental health course. And it was a really good course to take on. We're going to talk about a wee tiny bit about that. I'm only going to obviously point out, I know that it's a big course. It's a 2-day event, and it's run over. It's a 2-day workshop. So I'm only going to point out to the boys what I've kind of learned and get their experience on it as well. And obviously we're going to trigger in. We're going to talk to my good friend, we're going to talk to you first, mate.
Aye.
Welcome.
Aye, how you doing? I'm Ben Hampton. I'm one of Paul, Bob and Will's good pals. We all met through a common charity that supports men's mental health. So I am happy to be here today, mate, and happy to support you on your journey, and hopefully we get bigger and better.
Thank you very much, mate. So thank you. You're obviously the new co-host, another new co-host.
That's it, mate.
Or the way I see it, it's just a host for the show. Everybody's here as well. And would you like to introduce our main boy who we know? know the main guy.
Thanks
our main
much.
boy.
Sideshow Bob.
Sideshow Bob, mate. I've had that I don't know many times, mate. Mate, I'm delighted to be here, mate. This is us coming on camera here. This is us coming on for what? 11th, 12th episode?
11 or 12, aye.
Possibly more.
Aye.
It's exciting stuff, mate.
Aye, it's good.
What we've seen this in the last year and a half, maybe grown, is phenomenal, mate.
Aye.
The versatility of people through here, their stories through here, the bravery and adversity in them coming in the first place, mate, to tell it. Like Will coming in today, do you know what I mean? I know it's a big thing for you today, Will. Do you know what I mean? It's a nervous thing for you, I know that.
I wouldn't say nervous. It's this is like kind of DJing to me, so.
It's what you're talking about, mate.
Aye,
The things you want to speak about as well, mate. There's some dark stuff going on, do you know what I mean? But it's all going to be good, mate. This is a positive thing. The day's a positive thing.
Aye.
It's an hour and a half out of lives, do you know what I mean? But the message getting out here is so important.
Yeah.
So important. But that's what Green Sunrise is. That's what it was founded on, mate.
So how are you feeling anyway?
Yeah, I'm doing alright, mate. I'm doing alright. Aye, for once, I'm having a good steady flow today, mate.
Good,
aye,
man.
things are
Good.
doing alright, mate.
Good.
Things are on the up. Started back at the gym, so get the head switched on a wee bit more on that one, mate.
That's you a bit of focus.
Yeah, regulating things.
Aye.
So yeah, I'm doing alright, mate.
Good, mate. Good. It's good, and it's good to have you back, Bob. As you know,
It's great to be back, mate.
You're my sensei,
Always
and
great to be
guy
back.
I always go to,
Yeah,
and when
mate.
I'm looking for advice,
Yeah, mate.
when it comes to mental health, especially when it comes to mental health. And thank you for that.
You're welcome, mate. You know that, pal. You know
And you as well, Will. Thank you again. This is a big thing for you. I know you're playing cool, man. But
just
you're
go with the flow.
You're going to go with the flow. But before we get to you, right? I'm going to play a wee video, and it's called Nuggets. Have you all seen it?
Am I going to
Seen it,
cry?
mate.
No, well you might. No, I don't think you'll cry at this one.
I've seen it, mate.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
So what we'll do is I'm going to play Nuggets right now. Right, so what did you make of that? Was it all right? Was it it's a bit dark, wasn't it?
It's heavy. To start with, mate, you kind of start picking up after the first or second or third one.
Aye.
Then it really gets into it, mate. It's dark. You can clearly see it looks a bit as if it's to do with addictions or substance abuse of some sort. But near the end, mate, you feel for it.
Aye.
See that dark place?
Aye.
That dark place when they went to end up there and they didn't want to do it.
Aye.
Because there was nothing. It looks as if there was absolutely nothing left inside them.
Aye.
I can relate to that, mate.
Aye.
I can relate to that. That's a heavy duty place to be with your mental health, mate.
It was when I'd seen it, and I'd got it at the course for the MHFA in Scotland, and I think that when I watched it, I'd thought I'd seen it before, but now that way I couldn't remember it.
Aye.
And then I watched it and I was like, God, that's so powerful. So it just shows you. I mean, I forget everything anyway, but when I'd seen it again, for me it was a case of, you're right, it's like you could actually see his first bump. After the first one, you see bumps, and it gets.
It's a simple bit of animation to mate.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's no words in it. It doesn't need to be.
Aye.
It doesn't need to be, but it's off, mate, man. You could hear it. It was hitting him big time.
Aye.
Big time. Brilliant wee thing, mate. Brilliant bit of graphics.
The first three bits, you can see him getting higher and higher.
Aye.
And then after that third, it's the highs were getting lower.
Aye, couldn't get as high, couldn't know.
I've been very fortunate in my life that I've never suffered with addiction, but I can see how that video like shows just how easy it is to slip into that and then enjoy it. But then as each kind of hit was getting taken, the come down was getting harder and harder, and it was getting harder to brush yourself off and find a way through to actually like enjoy what you've that self-destruction that you've said.
And you're talking about stay with like addiction, so we look at it and we go, this is about addiction, when really addiction is like everywhere. It's like it doesn't even have to be like people who are on drugs or anything like that. It can actually be, for me, like self-harm. We talk a lot about self-harm and we don't even realise we're doing it to that point. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We keep going back to it, and I talk about like scrolling on the internet is self-harm as well, because you're not being productive. You're in that zone where I mean, sometimes it can chill you out. That's fair enough, but you can do it too much and it gets you to that place where you don't need to be in it. It's not doing you any good.
I've been guilty of that, like in the last few years, since I lost somebody out important to me. That's kind of been the big thing for me, staying in a comfort zone and realising that there's no growth for that, and I was just using the comfort zone to kind of help me through my anxieties, but it was actually making it worse. So now I'm learning to embrace the uncomfortable, and I'm doing a lot of different things like cold plunges and stuff like that, and getting myself out into the world and doing fitness and keeping myself like ticking over so that I can manage those thoughts and feelings. And I think, like you say, that it doesn't always need to be addiction that video's related to. It can be related to you being stagnant or unproductive in your day-to-day life, whatever that may be. You know what I mean? So I think it's definitely powerful.
It's more a dopamine chase you're going for. So it's like with myself, for me it was music. If it wasn't that, it was exercise. If it wasn't that, it was food. I just eat loads of stuff.
That's right. And you're putting a bit of weight and you don't realise. You're looking all right now. You're looking pretty sharp.
I thought that until I seen my small, and I was like, drive to belly.
No, you look good. Oh, but first of all, Bob, you had this tap one before, and I remember you kind of spoke about it. Give us a wee bit more, because you're all wearing one.
This was gifted to us by our good mate Ben a couple of years ago for Christmas. He'd done it. Ben will elaborate on it. It was a local wee guy that done this, but this one here stands for PTSD, mate.
Right, so that's PTSD.
And this sometimes you can see the cogs running around and then it getting played back. Sometimes
right.
With me, mate.
So what's the difference with the other ones then? What's yours
That's
mean?
ADHD.
Is that what that is? ADHD?
ADHD.
Wow.
Which is very like me.
His one basically shows two halves of a brain.
Right.
One half that's cognitive and like functional and like processes things in a good way, and then the other half is just basically kind of like so disorganised,
just
bonkers, and like
chaos.
all over the place.
Wow.
And that's like what Will's very like that. He can be like so focused when he gets
So it's
something
perfect for
easy,
him.
boom, and then the next minute he's so disorganised. So, it's
So
like,
what's yours?
mine's is anxiety, because that's what I suffer from the most. So mine, you'll see a wee skull trapped inside
Right.
the skull, and basically that's just to say that I'm trapped inside my own head a lot of the time. You know what I mean? A lot of my problems aren't actually out with them external, they're all internal. You know what I mean? I create my own problems.
Yep.
In the sense that's how I suffer from anxiety, because I overthink. You know what I mean? Over dramatise things in my head that it's actually not going to happen that way. Like a lot of things, when I do the action, it's actually a lot simpler than my head makes it out to be. So this is what I go. I found this wee place on Instagram. It's no longer a company anymore, unfortunately, but I had seen it, and me, Bob and Will had been kind of hanging about as a group of three, and Christmas is coming up, and I thought, you know what, this would be a nice way to sum up a friendship.
Aye.
You know what I mean? I kind of like diagnosed them on the blue. You know what I mean? Because obviously,
No, it was good.
They've not got their mental health.
He's got it good, hasn't he?
Diagnosis, but I thought, you know what,
see if it was
good.
your mate any other time, you'd have happened to back, you'd be a cricket man, wouldn't you? You know what I mean?
Aye.
And
Well,
that's a brilliant
I
thing,
know
mate.
that you and Bob got the same hairdressers, which is quite good as well.
Of course, mate.
So it's
Shot back on the sides.
and Will was actually going the same way I'm a wee bit. I saw early camp in it, mate.
Don't flatter yourself, son.
I saw early camp. I've got the quiff bit, so I'm not
Well,
bad.
it was my hot, but it's
The
kind
good-
of
the good morning,
So and then he's going to ask me about my t-shirt. No.
I know,
No.
mate, so tell me the
What
story
about
of
your
this, mate.
t-shirt?
I've
So
kinda
this is
picked
the
up
one I
on
wore,
last time.
the kilt walk, Bob, which you told me the kilt walk was going to be hard. And the kilt walk was terrible.
The kilt you walk.
Oh
The
man,
kilt
it was so we done the kilt walk obviously for wee Jamie's journey. And if you don't know about wee Jamie's journey, you don't know the story, he suffers with Duchenne's muscular dystrophy, DMD. Again, I always get that, I always pronounce it wrong, but we're doing some donations for Jamie, and I need to tell you before we get to that. So before we get to the kilt walk, or before I tap on the kilt walk, I think there was 20 odd people there. Me, my friend Brian Mitchell, another co-host for the podcast, he was there with me, and we joined a group of 20 odd people. Do not get me wrong, we lost them within about 5-10 minutes, because that's what happens in the kilt walk. You just go in your separate ways, you go at your same whatever pace you're going at. But it was really good to go there. There was over 100 charities. I think you're probably the same when you done it last year, Bob.
yeah.
I think last year when you done it, Bob, was it raining?
Oh, mate, sorry for the language, but it's pissing down for
Aye.
the entire journey, mate. But
Aye.
it never stopped anybody.
Aye.
Everybody was in good felt. There's people walking in front of you with boomboxes, speakers in the back of their rucksacks.
Aye.
A real vibrant, you know
Yep.
what I mean?
Aye.
Feel about it. It was a brilliant thing, mate.
Yeah, it was.
But it's an endurance course, mate. Don't kid yourself. It is an endurance course.
Yeah, yep.
But it's good that people got up and got out of their beds for a worthy cause.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh no, it was extraordinary.
And everybody's got a smile on their face.
Yeah, it was
That's the thing.
extraordinary. It really was brilliant, and it was so well ran as well. There was bits every 4 miles, I think it was, or whatever it was going to be.
right.
There was bits to stop and get a drink and juice and fruit.
Aye.
And even sandwiches at certain points, so it was really good, really well ran. So I think the mistake I made was that me and Brian took a bag, and the bag it doesn't matter what's in the bag, still a wee bit of weight in it, drags you down. So I'm thinking, right, I'll put sandwiches, put pasta and all that, and take an extra pair of socks and shoes and all that, but didn't need it. It was so well ran, I didn't need any of that. So I'd probably say if you got to do the kilt walk next year, or the Edinburgh one, there's one company in Edinburgh which Brian Mitchell and his wife are doing. I think they're doing it for epilepsy. I could be wrong. I'll need to find out the charity they'll do it for.
Well, whatever they're doing it for, that's a great effort.
It's a great
anyway,
cause. You're right, and it's really good. So again, a wee G's up for wee Jamie's journey, and thank you for that. So what we're going to talk about today, before we get to you, Will, right? We're going to talk about the stuff that I've done in the mental health. We're only going to go around it, just so to make people aware of what I've learned, and it's just to give me a wee refresher as well. So what they're doing is they're doing it on ALGE, an ALGE approach, and ALGE stands for ask or approach. L stands for listen. G stands for gather. I think it's gather information and gather your thoughts, or maybe wrong for that. And then the double E. E is
Explain. I think
encourage. No, I think it's encourage. So encourage yourself to go to professional services, which are all there to be had. That's what we're trying to connect up with.
I think it is.
And engage. No, ease another. Encourage as well, but it's encouraged to go with. I know that's what I thought it was engaged, but it could be stand for that as well. But I think so. What it means is
it no engage then encourage?
No, it's encouraging. Encourage to go to professional services, and encourage to go to the outer circles of that. So your friends, third sector organisations, Green Sunrise Podcast, for example, things like that, and just reach out to your friends and family. So for me, doing the 2-day course, it wasn't tough. It was good, and it made me aware of the fact that we have all got it in us to. I suppose we talk about it all the time on the podcast. We've all got it in us to help each other. So when you see somebody who's maybe suffering or struggling with their own mental health, then obviously the first aid training or the mental health training, and again, that's for everybody. And it's just good to be aware of the things that you can do and the things you can talk about. And
that comes down to basics, love and compassion for another human being. Do you know what I mean? We should all be talking to each other.
Yep.
No matter what circumstances you're in. That negativity we all live in this day and age.
Yep.
It's terrible, isn't it?
It is terrible, and it's one of those things. I'm looking at my notes. It's one of those things that so we don't realise how easy it is just to maybe pick up the phone. We don't realise how it is to just ask your brother or sister how you doing, and actually
everybody's on this phone, mate.
Yep.
For sometimes all the wrong reasons in it.
Yep.
You don't pick up that phone, don't you know, to talk to your friend that you've lost contact with. You don't pick that friend up, the phone up to talk to your family member that you've had the numbers with for all the months or years. It's a terrible thing, mate. Do you know what I mean? Everybody's got a phone in their hand every single day.
Yeah,
and that sometimes you're in that bad place, that dark place.
It's like a blessing in disguise. So it's got its good points and its bad points. So it does the invention of the phone. It's just it can be hellish at times.
Yeah, I mean we can use it. We can use it so it works for us in a sense. But you're right. We need to make sure that we're kind of working on it. So ALGE, and I'll just to let you know what it means. It's Scotland's mental health first aid programme, and ALGE is a different abbreviation. So it's planned. It's an action plan differed slightly from the international standard. And let me just get to the ALGE. Approach, assist and assist with any crisis is the A. G is give support. I think that was give support and information. E is encourage. Did you say that? Was encourage you said? Encourage to others to support and engage. And again, E's, the other E's also encourage to go to other services like your friends and family and anybody else who can deal with that. Right. I'll not do any more of that because that's, like I say, it's a 2-day work course, workshop, and it's over a full day, two full days. And if you ever get the opportunity to do the mental health first aid training, then please take it. Everybody should do it. I think it should be something that everybody gets, regardless of where you are and what you do, because it will save lives.
Do you think it made you maybe a better candidate to help somebody in need?
I think I'd been doing it anyway, but it was good to get. It was good to get connection with the people that are out there.
Aye.
So it was good to get that, and it was good to just see a different light on it. Do you know what I mean? Aye. As in simplifying it, and it's very, very simple to just to ask somebody about their mental health. But it was also, again, suicide was very much linked to the training.
Aye.
As suicide seems to be linked to every training now when it comes to mental health. So the suicide prevention stuff, as you know, as we all know in this room, that's how we met. It was a suicide prevention. That's how we met. So it's good to be able to give something back on maybe just to, again, come to it from a different light.
It's good for giving an insight as well into what to look out for in people, whether it be the way they're sitting, the way they talk, or different mannerisms and stuff like that. It points all that stuff out, so it does. Yeah,
I did that.
But I done that like 7 years ago, so it's probably...
Well, that's what I'm saying.
It's probably more up to date now.
Well, we can make sure that I'll get you some stuff for it, and we can make sure it's done every so often. So let's get to the main objective of today's podcast episode. Bob, what do you think about today's episode?
Right, this is going to be a powerful one. We're all good mates in here, mate. We've heard your story, which you're going to share today, mate. But a couple of weeks ago, we had a conversation with Paul and I, a kind of private conversation, and there's stuff in that, mate, that I hadn't heard, even though I know how much close mates were, and I was affected with that. It rattled me, mate.
I was worried when I seen you.
Yeah, but it's just it's hard, even though I've dealt with it on a personal basis, the stuff that you and I shared, the dart stuff. It's really difficult for me to hear that being one of your mates.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
No, totally.
But I needed to hear it. Like today, with the audience, this is going to go to. I mean, this is trigger warnings in this today for people.
Aye.
We've got to mention that.
Yeah.
But no, mate, there's a lot of positive stuff going to come in the days. There always is in the episodes. Do you know what I mean? But it's just
it's a roller coaster.
Yeah, mate, big time.
Roller coaster.
Big time, mate.
So that's it. So let's shall we get to the start?
Go for it.
Let's get to the start, mate. Start from the very from your earliest memory. Would you say that's probably right, Bob?
Yeah, mate.
Ben, would you say it from your earliest memory? How would you like to start this?
I don't know. I mean, I think personally, I think you need to give a wee bit of your background, because I think where your life has took twists and turns, I think it's important to like tell them your family background first, and then
So let's kick off then, mate. Tell me.
Okay. Try to think now from the start. Right. So when I was a young age, I was taken from my mother, my birth mother. So my birth mother, she was, from what I gathered, an alcoholic, and a prostitute. So I've got Irish gypsy background.
Okay.
And I've got, so I've done the DNA thing, it came up half Irish, half Greek. But my mother, she was a gypsy, Roman Catholic gypsy, but was Protestant.
Right, okay.
So from what I remember, which isn't really that much on the younger years, I'm talking like when I was an infant, can't really remember much from that. I remember going to nursery. I remember being told that she was coming to pick me up one day. I think I was going to Disneyland or somewhere like that. And she never actually turned up. I was standing down the bottom of the stairs in the close. Find out doesn't know what a close is. It's like a tenement, and there's a wee door you go in, and it gives you access to places.
Yep.
Just round the corner from where you used to stay.
Aye, I know it well.
Right above the shops. And I was standing there with a wee suitcase and my wee Robin Hood toy. It's like a wee kind of kid's toy, but it's one of the old knitted ones that you got. So it was one of them, standing there, greeting my face off, because she never turned up.
What age were you at the time?
Oh, God, I must have been about 5.
And you were saying you were standing at the bottom of the close. Who was it you were staying with at the time?
At the time it was my adoptive mother.
Right,
okay.
I think it was my adoptive mother and my adoptive father at the time. Were there with me. But as I say, I was very young. I just remember standing there crying and having this wee, I think it's a brown suitcase with like a wee red strap on it and a red handle. And then obviously the toy.
Right.
It's amazing how I mean, you're what, 42 years of age now, mate, 42 years young, and how much that's imprinted in your head. That you can graphically still see that day.
It's
so
crazy.
What happened for then on, mate? What happened for your younger years?
Obviously, I was being fostered at that time off of them. I'd already been to different households. So from what I remember being told, I was in Newcastle once, Coatbridge or Airdrie or something like that, and then I ended up in Drumchapel with people I call my mum and dad now. They adopted me when I was about 6 or 7, but I remember getting taken up to the court in Glasgow, across from the MOD building. Now you've got that kind of like a beige building.
Yeah, no, we are.
And across from it now's the tour performance offices. Right. So at the time that was a court, or the adoption bit. So went in there and I went into a court and stuff like that. And at the time I remember them going, this is like the, what do you call them, the social worker, saying this is where you go if you're a bad person.
Right, okay. Oh, you can remember that person saying that.
So I remember actually getting to sit in the seat where the, what do you call the guy with the wig?
Judge.
The
barrister.
GC, the judge, right? So
Right.
where the judge sits.
Right, okay.
Sits. I got to sit in that seat.
Right, okay.
But they're like, you don't want to come here because this is where bad people go.
Of
And that was
course,
at a young age.
Aye,
From
okay.
a 7-year-old this.
Aye.
Wow.
Right, okay.
Crazy. Or maybe a wee bit younger. And then obviously I went to school, but I was in and out schools when I was younger.
Right, so what was life like, first of all, growing up? So you becoming aware of that you were adopted, you were there at 6 or 7,
Yeah.
right, and you
So
knew you were adopted. What was going through your head at that
what
point,
they
if
said
you
to
can
me
remember?
was, would you like to have our name? I was just a kid, so I didn't
Yeah.
really understand at the time
Yeah.
what that actually meant.
Of course, aye.
So I was like, cool, I get another name.
Aye.
But the way it's worked is it's actually shortened my name down.
Right, okay. Yeah.
Because when I was born, it was William Patrick Joseph Demetrius Gilheeney.
Right.
So Gilheeney's
Wow, that's a tongue twister. That.
it's a big one.
We'll
but,
make sure we put that up on the description.
Aye, that's the name.
And that's why you couldn't play football, because they couldn't afford to
Exactly,
put your name that.
exactly.
Too
But,
expensive.
Good point, mate.
I found out later on that the Patrick and the Joseph, Patrick was my granddad's name.
Right.
Joseph was an uncle or something like that anyway. And the Demetrius was my father's name.
Right, okay.
So that's true. And now it's, well, William Donnelly.
Right.
It got changed to.
Right, okay.
So went for all of that down to
Just to
the bog standard.
bog
You
standard.
Still
Bog
never got-
standard.
still never got the Fitbit up.
No, still never.
Can I ask something? Like, I'm quite curious, right? Because like I grew up, I wasn't adopted. What was the first night like when you went into a new home like that? You know what I mean? Knowing that you've already had a mum who, you know what I mean, for whatever reason couldn't look after you the right way,
Honestly,
and just
I was that young. I
Aye.
can't remember.
You would have been.
I remember.
did you feel welcomed?
Yeah, I
Aye.
felt welcomed. I felt loved. But I remember crying myself to sleep,
Aye.
wondering if I'd done something wrong. And I remember, like, when I'd go to bed, they'd be like, "Love you," and then I'd say, "Love you back."
Aye.
And then obviously you get to an age, and then that all stops.
Aye,
It's
aye.
hate your guts, hate your guts, hate your guts type thing.
Aye.
But I don't really remember any of that. I remember going to like zoos and the old Glasgow Zoo. Remember that. Remember playing tennis down the back street. Like really random things. I remember Bellside Primary. I remember the setup of where you would go for lunch. Remember exactly what that looked like. It's like a wooden bit. It's weird.
Aye.
It's like designed back in the days.
You have
So-
adopted siblings though as well, though. You should mention. Like,
Aye,
how did they
so
treat you? Like coming into their
they just
family.
treated me like their own brother.
So
I was
what-
going to say their own brother.
So
and sister.
what did you have? Siblings?
So I had a brother. So when that family I got adopted into,
Aye.
older brother, older sister.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they just looked at me as if I was their own family.
Aye, so just
So
as
that-
normal.
Uh,
No, that normal, you know what I mean, but that was you were felt welcome.
Aye.
And
aye.
so when did stuff start to change? So we're talking about your school years, right?
Right. Okay.
So what started happening in early primary school
So primary.
that was troubling for you?
Primary. I don't know if it's because the way I am, but I'm like a million miles an hour when I was younger.
Right.
So I was had a bit of a mouth on me, bit of an attitude, but I think that is because I was adopted and undiagnosed with ADHD and whatever else. My birth mother, she had Asperger's,
Mhm.
as I call it, Asperger's.
Asperger's.
Asperger's, right. So obviously all that's had an effect on me,
Mm-hmm.
but I used to get bullied quite a lot at school.
Right.
So that there was times I'd get kickings and stuff like that, and then
What was that for, Will? Because you were adopted? Or kids just being cruel?
kids being cruel. Also, I would get bullied. Like, it's like family days and stuff like that, family sports days. I would get picked on a bit. Like kids would come up and go, "Aye, you have to steal somebody else's parents to get your own parents and stuff."
So
like that.
how did they know? How did they find that out? Is it
Um,
just
I think it's
it's just common knowledge from
aye,
from that area?
Aye.
Right.
But kids are wee bastards. So, so I used to get picked on. Don't get me wrong, I had my group of friends, but even now I never feel as if I fit in. It's hard to explain. I just feel like I'm always the odd one out.
Right, okay.
So I do. But I used to get bullied quite a lot.
Do you think you get made to feel the odd one out, Will?
I wouldn't say so. It's probably more of a mental thing.
Yeah.
Because all through my life I've always felt the odd one out. So it's not a case of someone's made me feel like I'm the odd one out, unless I was getting bullied. Like you get your usual name calling and stuff like that, but it's more the...
Do you get made to feel as if everything was your fault?
Aye, basically. And because of back then, ADHD and autism wasn't really understood as well back in early 80s, early 90s. So, like, people looked at it as if I was looking for attention. So I'd be banging my head off the walls and stuff like that, screaming, and it wasn't a scream for attention as such. It was more frustration. Looking back at it now, having an understanding about the way my brain works and stuff like that, I can see it was more frustration for not being able to do something, or being able to understand something, or certain social situations and stuff like that. Or social cues that I didn't really pick up on, and being different from everyone, as you all know.
So school
Was hellish.
School was hellish, but you started to get kicked out of schools, didn't you?
Aye.
So what was that?
That's a mixture of being bullied and having a bit of a mouth on me as well. I think because I was starting to try and find myself. Basically, nursery school is more like a social setting to a degree. You don't really learn much apart from talk and stuff. Going to primary, it's more of a proper social setting as such. And then high school is meant to prepare you for the big bad world and how you're meant to act and stuff, and in the workplace. And I just never took any of it serious. But primary, I must have went to about 3 or 4 schools. One of the teachers, I think her name was Mrs. Ewan. She was listening. Hi. She might be dead by now, I don't know. But at the time, looking back, I felt as if she was bullying me, and she probably was. Or she just didn't understand the whole ADHD and autism thing.
Is this just because she was maybe disruptive or something?
Yeah. So I was seen as extremely disruptive when I was younger at school.
Do you think you could feel with the educational system?
Aye. Yeah, because there wasn't an understanding back then. So anybody like myself, they'd be seen as extremely disruptive. All my reports came back was extremely disruptive, could apply himself if wanted to.
I think
has a bright future if he applies himself.
I think that was the thing back then though. It was like, if you had like ADHD, autism, all these kind of things that meant you couldn't read the social situation that you were in. You were either classed as unruly, undisciplined, bad parents, came from a broken home, X, Y and Z.
100%.
Thick as well, mate.
Aye, thick, you know.
How grading is that?
And it's just means your way of processing is different, you know what I mean? Like your ability to learn takes either longer, shorter, based on like structures nowadays that are put in place better for kids. But even then, the system still, you know what I mean, lets some go through the net, you know what I mean, which is 100%. Still a shame.
Like with writing exercise and maths and stuff like that, if it's something I had to put down onto paper, I would mega struggle at it. So I'd be looked at as, oh, he's just stupid as shit.
Aye.
But I was more a practical learning person. So if it's something I could physically do, I would pick it up. If it's a case of reading something, writing something, fucked.
Did you have any teachers will recognise you and try to make an effort?
Probably when I got to high school. When I got to high school, there's 1 or 2 teachers. I don't know if maybe they had an understanding of it, but they definitely, I had to offer them, and they were a lot better with me. Like, there was one teacher, Mr. McMahon. I've actually got him on my Facebook. Tracked him down a couple of years ago. He would have like a video club at lunchtimes when I went to Victoria Drive, and he was a brilliant teacher, probably one of the best teachers I actually had. And then science teacher Mr. Wood, he ended up going to Knightswood after Victoria Drive shut down. So there was quite a lot of influences from the teachers and quite a lot of support when I got to high school for certain teachers.
Good, mate, good.
Was that an angry and like confusing time for you as well? Is that how you kind of became aware of your mental state? Because you were so kind of back and forward between, you know what I mean, I'm adopted, I'm trying to process what's going on in this social situation, I'm trying to learn, but I'm not learning anything. Like, is that kind of...
Is there any bullying at high school as well, mate?
Well, high school, I used to get kickings all the time. Like, got kicked out of Knightswood, and then I think it was my second week in Victoria Drive. I got my head... No, actually, it's about 2 months in there. Got an absolute kicking. I mean, I got a kicking in that school. So, I was in... I even remember the maths teacher at the time, Mrs. Cannon. So I was in Mrs. Cannon's class.
She gave you one?
She gave me a kicking. Poof, no bother. No, I came out the class after the subject had finished, and there was like 4 or 5 guys there, and they all gave me a kicking and then left me, blood on my t-shirt.
Did you say guys, you mean boys, big lads?
No, they were my
So it
age.
was secondary, right?
So high school, so it's my year group, so they were.
So you weren't getting kicked out of school, were you? Was it, or you were leaving school?
No, I just actually went into that school, so it was probably about a month or 2 after joining that school.
Right, okay.
And I got a kicking and covered in blood, and then I ended up going to the class of one of the guys and jumping over the table and going for him. Then a couple of months later, I got an absolute kicking there.
So were you starting the fights?
No.
So why was the kicking on you? Why was it kicking off? Sorry.
Because I'm different.
Right.
Because I had a bit of a mouth.
Right. So you've been mouthy.
So somebody was saying something to me, I would obviously answer them back because I wouldn't stand there and take it.
Aye.
I didn't really start fighting until probably about 4th year.
Right.
So every day or every second day I'd get a kicking, and then one day I just...
What do you mean
snapped.
you was fighting, standing up for yourself?
Aye. But there was one day I got a kicking. One guy held one leg.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say a kicking, I mean I got a kicking into next week.
Aye.
One guy held one leg, another guy held another leg. Spread them open.
Aye.
Guy with steel toe caps. Kick to the boys.
Fuck's sake.
From what I was told, because I don't remember in it, I'd passed it. I got dragged downstairs, and then they done it again. So much so there was damage done.
Right, okay. Alright, sorry, what kind of damage to me?
So basically bollocks.
Right.
They're attached to a wee cord. One of them had twisted round. So the best way to describe it is, see if you imagine a swing.
Right, okay.
Right? And you spin the swing round.
Right, so...
And it gets tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter on that cord. That's basically what it's like.
Right.
So I never knew anything about this until probably a couple of weeks later, the damage.
Right.
Because there was one day I was just like, oh, that really doesn't feel good. That does not feel right.
Right.
And then I ended up getting rushed into hospital by my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And I had one leg up in the seat there, one leg in the back of his seat, in a weird position to try and feel comfortable. And I was in hospital probably for a couple of months after that because they had to remove one.
Right.
On the upside, they made me a stone lighter so I could fly about the place.
So they had to remove...
One testicle.
Seriously?
Aye.
Because of that incident, mate?
Aye.
Wow.
So for years after that, I was called Wob, Willy Wambo.
So what happened to the... Did this obviously go back to
So
the guys that done this?
I went back to school and I got my own payback.
Oh, but did the school know then?
No, the school done fuck all. Fuck all was done about it. Absolute fuck all.
Right,
Sorry
so
about the language, but
what do you mean your own payback?
Got them all one by one.
Right, okay. Right, and you gave him a tanking?
Might have been a couple of months down the line, might have been a year down the line or whatever. One of them I remember clear as day because we went back to Knightswood because Victoria Drive shut down. The guy had said something about my mum and just, you don't do that. So I was like, what are you fucking talking about? It's in the dinner duty time, and I had a dinner train, and I went to turn around and scalp him, like, fuck it.
Right.
And the way I've turned around, it's been the edge of the dinner train, it's the old wooden one.
Right, okay.
Right?
Aye.
There's a bit of a chip on it.
Aye.
I've turned around and cut the guy's eyelid.
Right, fucking hell. So you've...
He's lucky he still had his eye left.
Aye. So what happened then?
I got suspended.
Right, okay.
And that was it.
Right, okay. So what year was that? Was that 4th year?
That was 5th year, I think.
5th year?
5th year.
So it's coming to the end. Did you stay on?
Maybe near the end of 4th year. Actually.
Right, okay.
Aye.
So where did you go after that?
Well, I was given the choice when I got to 6th year. I can leave,
Aye, like everybody else.
leave or get kicked out.
Aye.
Because
But your 5th year I'm talking about, so where did you go in 5th year?
So in 5th year I was back at Knightswood.
Right, okay.
So I was, because 4th year they shut Victoria down.
Yep.
And then
That's
a
right,
couple of years later it got knocked in.
Right,
Well,
okay.
it got knocked in that year or something.
So you're back at Knightswood?
So what happened after your high school years? Well,
After high school I ended up going to college. Pretty much kind of the same. Got bullied a bit in college because I'm so different. Mouthy. But I always was kind of mouthy, but it's because people would try and pick on you and you just try and give them a bit back. But sometimes I'd get a bit
So so back then we didn't focus on mental health like obviously we do now.
No.
So what did you feel like it was that you were just, did you just think that bad luck was following you about kind of thing? Or?
I felt like I didn't fit in anywhere.
Right.
Like maybe I was this evil wee nasty
So
bastard
lonely?
that nobody liked. Aye.
Loneliness is kicking in?
Aye. Don't get me wrong.
I play sports and football.
I played football near enough every day.
Right.
Every day I would play football.
You part of a team or anything?
I wasn't so much part of a team as such. Maybe when I was older I got into teams and stuff like that, but I was never good enough. I didn't think I was. But I'd play football, I'd play badminton, I'd play basketball, play rugby. American football, just fit in. Aye, yeah, basically.
So can I ask, all these years are just rough, like living in terms of like get picked on, bullied, you know what I mean? All this, like, that's what you've all built up by being a young boy adopted to now a young man who's trying to find his way in the world. So where was the first time that you were aware that you were really in a bad place mentally after all that? Because that must catch up to you at some point.
Probably my early 30s.
Aye.
Because growing up the way I'd grown up, we getting bullied. Like I never said to my parents anything like that. So if they watch this, well, my mum, if she watches it, if my brother and sister watch it, they'll be like, "This is all new." The fuck. But I got a thick skin. I learned to have a thick skin. I lied quite a lot to try and give myself some self-preservation. And the odds would be, oh, I knew this guy done, or this guy done this, or this guy said that, when it was probably me that actually done it. And it was like a coping mechanism. So it was.
Well, let's take your time. Let's take me to a time where you were homeless, weren't you?
Aye,
you became homeless.
I was homeless for a bit. Aye.
So what was that experience like when you became homeless, and where were you before that kind of thing? So, because you were still you were very close to your adopted mum and dad, weren't you?
To a degree, aye.
But there was
always
that time. Aye, it was getting a bit.
As I got older, through my teenage years, things were a bit strained because obviously teenage years you're starting to find yourself, hormones and all that.
Yeah, of course, aye.
And I think at some point I probably did go, you can't tell me what to do. You're not my mum and dad. Fuck off, type thing.
This is like 17. Yeah, 16, 17, you start to become.
Aye.
Yep.
Because you just start to find yourself. But I'd say with my dad, I probably had a bit of a strange relationship.
Yeah.
But in saying that, looking back, it wasn't so much strained from him. It was probably more myself, and because everything I'd been through, it was more feeling that he was picking on me when he wasn't. It was more the old school way of put you down to try and lift you up. So it was. And now I can see that after he passed, I've got a better understanding of it, why he was like that, because he's very old school. The relationship we had was good at times, and then other times it was just a nightmare. But I would do it all over again. If I could have him here with me a day, I would.
Of course. So with regards to the homeless stuff, how many, was it a long time? Was it just a brief moment in time?
I think it was about a year that I was homeless for.
Right, okay.
So I was with somebody, Leanne, I still talk to her now and again.
Right, okay.
She's actually moved, I think she's moved down south. Or she's in Kilmarnock or something like that.
Right, okay.
Still talk to her now and again, but I'd split up with her, and then I was homeless.
Right.
For about a year.
What age were you all when this?
Oh God, probably about 15 years ago.
So what age were you then?
Oh,
you're 31 or something?
No,
31, 31, aye, about 10, so about 30, 31.
29, you would have been the same age as me.
29, if it was 15 years ago, yeah, 20.
No, it wasn't. I was 30 because it was on my 30th birthday we split up.
Right, okay, so there you go. So it's no 15 year, but you know, but it's roughly about that.
So it was probably about a week or two after my birthday we split up.
Right,
So
okay.
My birthday's always.
It's always these poignant moments in life where it either hits or doesn't it?
So at one point I was on the street, slept in a graveyard.
Slept in a graveyard?
Slept in a graveyard. I was lucky it wasn't raining. It was during summer. And then my brother.
Still staying with your parents at the time?
No.
No.
My father.
Did your own flat?
No, I didn't have it. So split up with a girlfriend. My father refused to take me in because he thought it was my fault. In a way, it kind of was my fault.
Well, you were kind of
I kind of.
So you're saying
you're showing the world anger, I
you want
suppose.
to take you in. Where were you staying at the moment?
The reason we split up is because I cheated at the time, and things were. I know I was a bad boy, but what happens in life sometimes? No condoning it. Shouldn't have happened.
I
ended up on the street for a wee bit, and I was sleeping in different places. I ended up going to Thomas Fortune Centre, and then I was in what's the other one? Thomas Fortune, and there's another one. Can't remember.
Primary community?
No. It's Thomas Fortune Centre. And then, is it a Graham Bell or something like that?
I'm not too sure, but when it would have been back then.
Oh, I can't remember. But I had to go to at the back end of Shettleston to get it all the time. So I had to make sure I was getting signed in there every day. Then my brother took me in. And then eventually I got put into a hostel in Easterhouse,
right,
which was an old... what do you call it? An old pensioners' home,
right,
old care home,
okay,
at the back of the Shanwick, and then I was there for about 6 months.
So was it in that time you were homeless? Was that when you made your first attempt at suicide?
Yeah. So I was probably at one of my lowest points there. So I was out quite a lot, walking about just to get myself out, trying to get some fresh air. But I was struggling mentally wise.
And I'd imagine there'd have been no services or anybody to talk to, even though
there was people in there I would talk to, but it wasn't about what was going on in my head at the time.
So who was that? It
was just some of the guys that were there.
Or just people that you knew.
Right. So there was a mixture of drug addicts, alcoholics, and just your regular homeless guys.
So where was this again? What's it called? What did you say it was called?
Easterhouse. It was over in Easterhouse.
Oh, was it over in Easterhouse?
Aye, so you've got the Shanwick, I don't know what it's called now, but it's a Shanwick shopping centre.
Right.
And then you had the library and the swim baths. I was right across
I know exactly where you are. Yeah.
So I was in there, and then there was one day I went to walk, and I was like, I fucking had enough. So I had 3 attempts when I was homeless at the time. So the first time, got myself tied up. Thought, right, okay, that's it. Dropped in, the rope snapped. This is like a comedy sketch at this point with everything that happened. So second time I tried, the branch snapped.
Right.
And then the third time, somebody seen me and they've run over and managed to take me down. And that was my first attempts. And then after that, I'd kind of got my own place, and then I went back to Drumchapel.
Right.
And then I had my own place, and a couple of times I went into just down the road in the Clyde Tunnel, because I knew there'd be people in there that you don't really want to cross.
Mm-hmm.
And they'd come up to you with a knife, and at the time I was like, well, when you go on, I was holding a knife against my throat.
Right, okay.
Actually begging them to do it, just slit my throat.
Right.
So it's quite a dark time I had at the time.
Right, okay. So when did it start to get better, and did it get worse after that? So was it getting better than did it just turn again to? No,
it started to get a bit better. I managed to get myself sorted out, got a job and all that, got a new girlfriend at the time, and things started to turn around a wee bit.
Were you staying?
Aye.
Were you?
So I was ended up staying in Baillieston, and then I moved from Baillieston into Clydebank to be closer to her.
Right, okay.
And then things kind of went downhill again. There's a lot of things happening at the time, so I was getting chased for 10 grand a day after council that I didn't actually owe.
Mm-hmm.
Another 10 grand or 5 grand for Scottish Power that I didn't actually owe. It turned out that my electricity and my gas was linked up to somebody else's in the flat next door. So
right,
I was
okay.
getting hit with all these bills.
So the pressures then started to come out.
My job was on the rocks.
Right.
And then the relationship was on the rocks. And then I just found out at the time that potentially my dad had stomach cancer as well.
Oh, right, okay.
And it just got too much for me. It all came from one angle, and I ended up stepping in front of a train.
Right,
down
okay.
at Yoker train station.
So what attempt was this? Because we speak about
that
that was your last attempt at suicide.
So that was probably about 10 years ago or so.
Fucking hell.
Maybe, no, was it 7 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Aye, 7 years ago.
So when did things start to change, as in for the better, as in? Because now we're coming up to a point
when things actually properly started to change was probably
we met
last August. To be honest,
just last August. But we met. But when did we meet? When did we meet, Bob?
3 years past.
Aye,
2020.
2020. So that was that's when the podcast had started.
It's probably December 2020.
So, but that's when this had started, though. The idea for this had started. Did you like?
We'd started talking.
That's when we started.
You were thinking about doing it. It's like, oh, right, okay, that's a good idea.
So,
where were you in your life? Well, when we met, what brought you into the mental health charity where we met?
So I'd lost my adoptive father. So I had he died of diabetes. So I had.
You took that hard, didn't you?
Yeah, I took that really hard. Like, it went into hospital. There wasn't eating much or anything like that, and then it came out, and then it was my mum and dad's 50th anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they probably just let him out for that.
Mm-hmm.
So he was out for a couple of weeks, and then they went back in. So when they went back in, they removed a toe because it gangrene in it, and then it spread to the other toe. Removed another toe, but the last time he'd went in, there was something inside me that knew that was it. He wasn't getting back out.
Mm-hmm.
I could just tell.
That was just your feeling,
just a gut feeling. I was like, nah, he's not getting back out. Then we done a video call with him, and it was on form, doing his usual, slagging me off. I'd just got a mohawk, and he's like, badger's arse, the usual stuff. And then, so that was on the Sunday, and then I think it was a Tuesday or whatever it was, the 5th of March. I remember 5th of November, Guy Fawkes night, God days. There was a call to my sister saying, right, come in and see him. So we went up and seen him on the 5th of March. So I went up with my bra, seeing him there. It was, you could see that he knew what you were saying, he understood what you were saying.
Yeah.
But he couldn't talk. And he was like withered away. There was like next to nothing in him. And I'd never seen him like that. So that was a big shock for the system. So I was there probably for about an hour max, maybe an hour and a half. I ended up going off my head at the wee nurse guy. Was like, surely there's something you can do, and I was losing it. And they're like, well, he can't eat, so there's nothing we can do, is end of care. I'm like, what the fuck do you mean is it end of care? So I was talking to him the other day, and it's like, there's nothing else we can do.
Right, that's how quickly.
Aye, he just deteriorated basically overnight.
Wow, man.
I think he held out to see me and my brother, because by 10:30 that night he'd passed away.
Right.
My sister and my brother tried to call me first thing in the morning. I didn't see or hear the call until
just didn't get it.
5 in the morning. I woke up and I'm like, as soon as I seen it was my sister, I was like, I know exactly what that is.
No.
I answered the phone and she's like, he's passed. And I was just an absolute fucking mess.
Just a mess.
I didn't
Almost.
know what to do.
Well, see, sorry for tracking back here, but see when you'd made your 4 suicide attempts.
Yeah.
What about your adoptive parents and your siblings? Did they know?
So it actually kind of brought us closer together for a bit. I got a lot of stuff off my chest then to my dad, because I'd said to him, and I was only being honest at the time to him, I was like, listen, since I was about 15, maybe 16, I didn't actually feel like I had a dad. It was just, it was always so what I'm looking for. It was also kind of hostile at times between us, so I was always arguing and stuff like that.
This was you and your dad's
Aye, my adoptive father.
relationship. Yeah.
Aye.
So that's kind of how we met though, because you lost your dad 2020 November, and I lost mine 2021 January.
Aye.
And I lost my dad in a similar circumstance,
Yeah,
so
there's so many
talk about it at a different
Yeah.
time. But basically, I was suffering and I needed to go somewhere to let it out, and I was fortunate that a friend that we all know, Daniel, he met his big brother, and he told me about the charity that was local to us at the time, and then I took a visit there, and that's when I met Will, and me and Will started.
So this is Main Matter Scotland?
Aye, Main Matter Scotland. This is when me and Will started connecting through the talking group, and I then started shadowing you.
That's right.
Paul was a volunteer, and then when I became a volunteer, I then met this man here.
The Bob Scare walks through the door.
Yep. Aye, when he was at his absolute lowest, and he was a bit of a shell and a zombie himself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then through there, I think the 4 of us have just kind of came like this kind of on-off unit that like any time that something goes wrong, we're always pulling each other's resources to each other.
Yep.
It's like, right, Will's get 10%, right, let's give him some. You know what I mean? And we always did this thing in the group, which was battery life, so we always compared how we felt to a battery, you know what I mean? So we always ask each other, how's the battery now? And that's
I suppose one of the things that they say, even at the Main Matter Scotland, is you're stronger together, I suppose, and it's good that way. So I think, but you've got good news, right? So let's get to the good news, because I think it's good that we can get to that. At least you've got good news. And how long was it after?
It's quite weird because, like, obviously the adoption bit, right, and all that, and then I decided when I was 18 I'd try and find them, my birth mother and father. I spoke to my adoptive dad about it. He was all behind it. I think my adoptive mother, she didn't really understand why I wanted to do it, and I'm not really good at explaining shit anyway at the best of days, but it was something that I had to do because I wanted to know where I was from, who my birth mum was, who my birth dad was. So 11 years ago I managed to track down my birth mother, and then 7 years ago she passed away,
right,
but I only met her 3 times. There wasn't really
there wasn't a connection of sort,
there wasn't that maternal connection that I guess she would feel.
She wasn't meant to be, was it?
Yeah. And then I found out I had 3 brothers.
Right.
One of them accidentally committed suicide. The other one, we don't know where he is.
He accidentally committed suicide?
Yeah, so he was going home, right? And it was a night out at Christmas. And he would go one direction, this bridge he would go over, right? So he'd jump over the wall and go home, but he jumped over the wrong side and dropped like 20 or 30 foot.
Right. Sorry, mate.
So I never got to meet him. The other brother, we don't know where he is.
Right.
And then Wayne and my other sister, Andrina, so these are half brothers, half sister. So I got to meet them.
How was that?
Well, I met Andrina in the town at Starbucks.
Right, okay.
And the whole time I was shitting myself. I didn't know what to expect, and then the same with Wayne, didn't know what to expect, and it was good. So it was for a time being, and then kind of got distant.
Right.
So it did. My brother phones me now and again, so that sometimes I don't answer just because I've been busy doing other things. I'll need to give him a call at some point. And then out of the blue, I decided I'll do a DNA test.
Right.
So I went to ancestry.com to see if I could try and find my father.
Right, okay.
But when my mother died, I went down south with my brother, got to meet the whole side of the family, all the gypsies and all the rest of it. Mental, to say the least. So fast forward to more recent, done a DNA test after my adoptive father passed, because I thought, right, well,
you just wanted to know.
I'm going to have questions for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
That came up with nothing.
So who did you use?
Myself.
No, but was it Ancestry?
So I used Ancestry first. Right?
Ancestry first.
And then last year I used My Heritage.
So that's
the one that done it.
That's what done it. And it was quite unusual how you found it.
Yeah, so the results came up. My uncle. It says 100% probability this is your uncle.
Right, okay.
And this was like 6 months after I'd done the mouth swab and all,
right,
6
okay.
weeks.
I'd done the test.
And I was sitting in my mum's house and I shat myself.
Right.
I was like, what the fuck?
Aye.
She's like, you alright? I'm like, I think I might have found my dad.
I remember getting that phone call. That was like you were freaking out.
Oh, big time freaking out, because I wasn't expecting it. I thought,
you don't expect
never in a million years.
Right, okay.
Right, so there was a woman from America, Penny Haskin, her name was.
Right, Penny.
So if she watches this, thanks very much. She got in contact with my uncle Michalis, who's one of my brother's brothers, one of my brother's brothers, one of my father's brothers. And then
this is your biological father?
Aye. So I started messaging backwards and forwards.
Okay.
And then he put me in contact with my dad.
So did your dad know? Because you said he knew nothing.
I was told that he knew about me. Turns out it's just basically one of those summer affairs.
Yeah, just a.
Aye. And then I popped it. So messaging backwards and forwards, and then we done a video call on FaceTime. Facebook. Facebook Messenger thing. So it was.
It was just last year.
Aye, last year. Just August, July, I think it was June, July.
So you've
I done a video call.
Done your video? Wow, man.
Right, so first time I've ever seen him, video call. First time I ever spoke to him, video call. Right, so on the call was obviously myself. Then there was him, my 2 half sisters.
Yep.
That I found out I had that.
Yep.
Obviously didn't know, and then my dad's wife, stepmom. And I'm sitting talking away, and his English is a wee bit broken.
Yeah.
It's better than what I expected.
Yep.
My 2 sisters speak good English, so they do. Stepmom doesn't really talk that much good English, but she's learning.
Yeah.
She's learning more and more every day.
Yeah, excellent.
But it was so surreal.
Wow.
As in, had the same mannerisms. So I'd be sitting like
Does
that.
he look like you?
Yeah.
Spitting image.
Is it?
Aye.
Yes.
Try and get a photo and put it up for you.
I'd see when you show you a picture. He'll show you after this.
Oh, I need to see a picture.
My sisters, look, one of them looks more or less like me.
Wow.
And then when you see them characters, it's like I've been split down the middle and put into 2 separate people.
Wow.
It's mental. So I went over there in August last year, met them, spent time with them, probably about 5 weeks. It was just
that's
surreal.
Brilliant. That's beautiful, man.
Fast forward to now, Monday coming.
So this Monday
coming, I'm moving over there.
So you're off to Greece. That's right. So you're off to Greece this Monday.
Yep.
Wow,
5 days time.
And tell everybody your real
Full
name.
time. Boom.
5 time. So I went to the lawyer to get my name changed.
Yep.
So it's now going to be William Donnelly hyphen.
Right.
Hyphen, yes.
Hyphen.
Antonopoulos.
Antonopoulos.
It's a
Wow.
good one, mate, isn't it?
That is.
it's
Antonopoulos.
crazy.
That's beautiful, man.
Do you find
Crazy,
you,
man.
Will, as if you've just completely found Will?
Yeah.
You feel as if
I
you fit
feel
in there?
like I found the place. The family that brought me up. They done the best for me in that, and they'll probably feel that I'm leaving them behind and forgetting about them. But
No, but you're.
but I feel like I've found the place where I was meant to be, where I
Well,
belong.
Where you fit in.
Exactly.
Finally.
If they're watching it, I don't want them to feel like, oh well, pure bad. Oh, this.
No, you were
fine,
accepted
fix it.
either way, but now it's just that you
but
found
I
your balance.
Like, even when I've been around friends and stuff like that, I never felt like I belonged. Or
Yep.
like, there's times when I've been with yous lot, I never felt like I've fitted in or I've belonged. When I was over there, I
You
felt
didn't
like
really, mate. We just put up with you for all this
that's
time.
basically what it is.
Yeah, there you go.
But when I got off the plane and being there for 5 weeks, just felt like everything clicked into
Aye,
place.
Good, man.
I had a better understanding of myself, of who I am,
Yeah.
why I am the way I am. Partly because my dad, because he's just mental. But I've got a much better understanding of myself. So
We've got-
it's like, wow.
I've got a couple of minutes to go, right? And I think in the last couple of minutes, would you like to say something to, obviously, the people
The
that you're leaving, but apart from the fact that, would you like to say something to your new family you're going to meet before you get there? Something.
Sorry for any hassle I bring.
That's it.
No, if anything, I'd like to thank my family that's brought me up.
Yeah.
My mum, my dad, and my brothers and sisters. My brother and sister. I've probably been an absolute nightmare growing up with.
But I
and
loved you just the same.
Oh, I know that, and I love them. And
You still do.
I don't take anything away from that at all. They've been with me for good times, bad times, and I can't thank them enough for everything. I really can't. They probably think, oh, he's a dick and all the rest of it. I don't blame them if they do, because I probably have been. But I'm moving on to the next chapter in my life,
Good.
which is my father.
Well done.
I'm going to be a big brother now.
Excellent. Man.
I'm like, wow.
And you've already kind of agreed that you'll do. Sorry, you've already kind of agreed that you're going to be able to do it. We're going to start doing kind of video chats on Green Sunrise podcast as well. So
Yeah.
you'll be able to do that over in Greece.
Mate,
That'll be good.
Green Sunrise is now going international.
It's going
mate.
It's going international.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking, once I've got myself sorted out there, learn the language, I might try and do my own podcast.
Yeah,
to set
that'd be
up
great.
my own mental health thing.
Aye,
or something.
100%. That's your goals. You've got massive goals.
Spreading the message, mate.
Aye.
Good on you, pal.
So thank you. That's us. Just time's up. So thank you, Ben.
Aye.
Thank you for
very
coming
much
in.
for having me. I
That's
appreciate
you.
it.
You're now
good to
part
be
of
in
the
the
family,
studio
part of the
and-
furniture.
Aye, that's it.
We've got Deacon Richard coming in. I need to mention Deacon Richard. I've just not had a chance to speak to him the last couple of weeks, but Deacon Richard's coming in to help us. You know Deacon as well.
We baldy deeks.
It's going to be bald. It's going to be a
Oh,
bald.
we Deacon.
Bald, but I Deacon. He's brilliant, and obviously with many more coming back. So Bob, thank you for coming back, mate.
Mate, you're welcome. It's always a pleasure. What a success story.
Aye.
Right.
And Will, why don't you finish with a wee yes? You're going
Yes. Yes.
There you go.
Yes. There you go.
That's the one I'm looking for.
Sorted.
Thank you very much. Thank you again for watching today's podcast episode. Please subscribe. I keep forgetting to say, please subscribe for today's for the podcast and complete. If you've watched it. No, sponsors are done, but I'll do sponsors next time. I've got sponsors, I've got an idea for that. They know what I'm talking about, and there's an idea for that, but don't worry about that. So thank you so much. If you've not subscribed, last time I've looked, there's 81% of people that have been watching this podcast and they don't subscribe. So please do us a favour, hit the subscribe button and just watch this family and podcast grow. Well, thank you so much.
Just quickly.
Yep.
Because I know there's quite a lot of people out there that probably do negative stuff and give negative comments. Everything I've talked about today, is the gospel truth.
Yeah, of course.
But I do know there's people that
we don't even
stay rubbish.
We don't even need to go there. Don't even go. But I mean, you know that we've spoken about.
No,
Don't need to go there. But you're right. That happens. It's not going to happen today. Thank you so much, Will, again, and the two Bs.
Like, share, subscribe, everybody. Green Sunrise Podcast.
Do
it now. Yes.
Thank you very much. Have a great day. Thank you.